keep up to date with our latest videos, please hit the subscribe button below. Hi there guys and girls, Chris here from racingbetdata.com again with another video just to advise on some of the new features that we've added into the website, or into the pre-race download part of the website I should add. And these have been requested by a couple of our members, Robert and Martin, recently, both separately, independent of each other, and we thought we'd add them in at the same time. And I'm hoping you're going to enjoy the benefits that these bring. I know that it means we're adding new columns to an already fixed data set, and we said we would do this if we saw the benefit in doing so, and that is exactly what we've seen with these two new features. So I'm going to walk you through what those are in a moment. Just to advise how you get hold of these, so in the pre-race download file part of our website, which I've navigated to already, valid from the 9th of July 2021, these new features will be in the pre-race download file and then obviously in the archive file from that date forwards. So any existing members, you can navigate to the pre-race download file webpage, and same for any new members that join, you'll be able to get hold of this data as well. The sample file will look to update next week, so these new features are not actually in the latest sample file, but they are in the download file itself. So I'm going to download that and then talk you through it. So anybody who is not yet a member of our website, you can do quite easily. You can upgrade, go to the membership options, upgrade to advanced, and then you'll have access granted to you within a matter of moments, and then you'll be able to download this data yourself as well. So let's get into the data itself. So opened up the pre-race download. You can see here we've opened on the combined tab, and we have tabs for all the other courses that have meetings today along the bottom, and we have our selections tab, which I'm going to come to in a moment as well. Now if we scroll to the right hand side, so these are the new columns that we've added in, these three here. So we do try to limit, and we don't want to willy-nilly add columns in because this file is growing in size, so we're cautious of that as well, and we're also cautious of the people that automate, you know, and want to keep things in the same structure and same format, which is completely understandable. So our commitment is that we'll always keep the official rating and the headgear to the right hand side, and any new additions will go in preceding that, so usually right before these two columns, as we've done so here. So these two are combined and they're called PRB and PRB to date. So what is PRB? So PRB is percentage of rivals beaten. Fairly self-explanatory, but it's a good calculation method to gauge a horse's performance. And the way we can calculate this, let's look at this example here for the horse, a boy named Ivy, that ran on the 11th of August 2020. So we need to look at the place that horse finished, and I'm going to highlight that column, and the amount of runners in the race. Okay, and this is the formula that we use. So the formula is the amount of runners in the race, of which there are 9. I'll just highlight that line and bring up the position of the horse, which is 2, and then that's divided by the number of runners in the race minus 1, which gives you a percentage of 87.5. That itself is a percentage of rival beaten calculation, but to take it a step further, what we want to apply to that is a further calculation, and that further calculation will give you an exponential output, and that means that it's useful for horses that finish nearer to the first place, and it also means that horses that tail off towards the end of the race, the calculation is more accurate for those. It gives a longer term benefit to the rating. And the way that it's calculated, all we do is simply the square of the output here. So you do 0.875 times 0.875 or 0.875 squared. And that gives you a figure of 76.56%, which if we scroll to the right hand side, you will see that the PRB for that race was 76.56%. And then we have the PRB to date, which is simply an average figure for all the races so far that horse has raced. And as you can see on today's race here, the horse goes into the race at York with a PRB of 51.3%. Now the benefit of the PRB compared to just looking at a finishing position is, well, you want to put more weight to a horse that finishes 4th in a field of, say, 18 or 20 than you would to a horse that would finish 4th in a race of 5, 6, or even 4 horses. So this is how the calculation can be applied and gives you that overall percentage. Now, in terms of where to look for a horse that's considered a positive, you want to be looking for a rating in excess of 55%. So if a horse has got a rating today greater than 55%, then it's deemed to be positive. If that horse's rating is below 45%, then that should be taken as a negative. And anything in that window, that 10% swing in between, could be just considered equal noise, and there's no real significance to that figure. So when filtering, you could consider that anything above a 55, would be a positive sign for that horse, and anything below it, waving a bit of a flag. Now, the way the calculation works is any horse that unseats the rider or is pulled up or falls, that is classed the same as its finishing last. So it was awarded a 0% for that race because the horse didn't finish. Now, that's a bit of a grey area, shall we say, because a horse could be leading a race, it could be coming up to the final jump, and it could be 15 lengths clear and it could clip the fence and fall. Equally, you could have a horse that's pulled up at the back of a race and it's never been in contention, and they're weighted the same. But I think that's the fairest way to do it, because otherwise you're in danger of overbalancing it one way or the other. So I think to have a blanket approach of 0% for a horse that does not finish the race is the fairest way to tackle that. Okay, so we have those features in there. As I said, that's explain what that does, and if you want any more information on it, then feel free to get in touch with myself. As I said, this has been requested by one of our users who does use this already, so we've merely added that in for him. The next one is the last time out position, and again, another request from a member. So this one is even more self-explanatory. It basically shows you the numerical position of where a horse finished its last race. Okay, and the more useful part of this is when we get to the slicer function. So we're going to dive into the selections and show you what we've added in here now as well. So here's the slicer functionality in the selection tab that you're fully aware of by now. We have changed the date function to make it a slicer rather than a timeline. One, because that allows people who do not have Excel 2016 to use this. It was only the timeline function has only been added into the 2016 version of Excel. It wasn't in the 13, so more scope for more members to use it, which is great. And also, we were finding that with the timeline function in place, it wasn't linking in with the slicers correctly. So where we were selecting certain dates, the tracks, all of these slicer features weren't updating correctly. And what I mean by that is if we select today's date only, you can see that it's already filtered out and grayed out any tracks that don't have any races today. Let's look at a horse that raced yesterday and it is racing again today, and you can see the tracks that it raced at yesterday. The timeline function wasn't interacting with that in the correct manner, so we took that out. Okay, now let's get back to what we're talking about. So we've got the PRB to date, and then you can scroll through. Again, it's percentage order all the way through, and you can look at horses that do meet whatever criteria it is you want to use, so that's controlled within there. And then we have the last time out position, again self-explanatory. So if we want to click on horses for, let's have a look at, let me just filter this by today, and where the last time out position was 1. So that brings 67 selections that are running today where they won the last race. So just really quick, easy analysis if that's the thing you want to look at. Or you can discount horses that finished first on the last time out. If you wanted to do that, you could unselect one and select all the others, however you want to do it. And then you can embed, if you wanted to amalgamate the horses that won on their last race with horses with a percentage higher than 55. Again, by holding the control key down, we can select all of those. Let's go through, select everything above 55. And this is how these two new slicer features work in conjunction with each other. And you can see there we've got 24 selections where the horse carries a PRB of 55% or above, and it won on its last race. So if that's your thing, then there you go. It's all in there and all ready for you to use. Thank you.